Hello, friends. Hope you're doing well. So, today I want to talk about the movie Nobody. It's a 2021 film. The plot synopsis, according to IMDb, is a docile family man slowly reveals his true character after his house gets burgled by two petty thieves, which coincidentally leads him going to bloody war with a Russian crime boss. Oh, was loud. The film stars Bob Odenkirk. I think he's the only real star in the film. Everybody else is kind of just. This Christopher Lloyd comes in at certain points. Christopher Lloyd, if you don't remember, is Doc Brown from Back to the Future. I really don't know. I just sat down and hit record, because I kind of like these rambling ASMR videos. And I feel like I could talk about movies all day. So here's a rambling one. Basically, how I felt about this movie, I really wanted to like it because I like Bob Odenkirk a lot. I've liked Bob Odenkirk for a really long time. There was a show on HBO called Mr. Show. It was him and David Cross, and it was kind of a sketch comedy. It was really funny. And that's got to be 20 years old at this point. And I liked that, even as a kid, watching things I shouldn't have been watching on HBO late at night. And I love him in Breaking Bad, obviously, and Better Call Saul. I think Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad are two of the best TV shows, drama-wise, ever. I love those so much. And so, I really wanted to like this movie. Basically what it feels like is, it's like if a middle-aged, kind of boring stepdad kind of guy, he's not a stepdad, I don't know why his stepdad came out, but it's kind of like a boring suburban dad, just all of a sudden with John Wick, and he's got all this FBI, CIA training or whatever. That's kind of the movie, and so it really feels, it's hard to root for a movie like that, because it's, the catalyst is kind of just okay, and then the circumstances are in John Wick, it makes sense, the catalyst, and this guy's this big time assassin, he's getting out of the game, and then now he's on a revenge plot. That makes sense. The inciting incident in Nobody is way less. Some people break into his house. He could obviously just murder them and decides not to. And then it just seems like he's sick of just being kind of just a suburban dad kind of guy, and he's trying to live that quiet life, but it's not really a revenge plot. Nothing crazy happens in John Wick. The inciting incident in John Wick, if you're not familiar, is famous assassin settles down. His wife dies of cancer, and she buys him a dog that gets delivered the day she dies or something like that. And then some people break into the house and kill the dog because they don't realize whose house they broke into. So John Wick goes on this revenge plot, and turns out the people that broke into the house are Russian mobsters. So this Nobody movie is really, it's borrowing heavily from John Wick in a lot of places, and really as the movie goes on, it just feels like plot armor, the movie. Bob Odenkirk, even if he has this crazy training, is basically beating people to death with his bare hands on a bus. He's somehow has access to all these weapons. You're just okay. And then the gunfighting scenes were just he's clearly not taking cover and just opening, with two hands with machine guns, and you're okay, this really is a middle-aged white guy to a guy Wet Dream, sort of if I have an AK-47 or an M16, I could take down the Russian mob single-handedly. And you're nah, you can't. You might get a couple of them, but they're definitely gonna murder you. movies in this movie. Other than Bob Odenkirk maybe just wanted to be like an action star for a film, and if that case, like, hey, good for you, like you made the film, it's not a great one. This really feels more like Bruce Willis post Bruce Willis giving a fuck about being in good movies, which is like his current state. This feels like one of those movies, like somebody wrote it and was like, let's get Bruce Willis, and they're like, he's busy this week, and they're like, well, we're still gonna make the movie. Who's second choice? Bob Odenkirk. You want to make a movie where you're John Wick? Great, come on, let's go. That's kind of what this movie feels like. It feels like a shitty Bruce Willis film that Bob Odenkirk is in instead. And it's like, it's not funny. There's, it doesn't use Bob Odenkirk to his strength, which is humor. Like, if you had pitched me a film where it's like, it's John Wick, but it's funny, I'd be like, okay, I'll watch that. Like, if it was Michael Scott, Threat Level Midnight, if you didn't know, Bob Odenkirk was actually going to be Michael Scott, but then Steve Carell replaced him. I don't remember why that was, which is why later in The Office, Bob Odenkirk has kind of a cameo as a Michael Scott type character. But if you had pitched me like a Threat Level Midnight where like it was like a Michael Scott type character who goes John Wick, I'm fucking there all day, every day. But they didn't, there's no real humor, so it's kind of like John Wick meets Falling Down. If you've seen that one, that's a movie from the 80s with, God, what's his name? I can't think of his name right now. He's the guy, I want to say Martin Sheen, but I know that's not right. Like, it's 1,000% wrong. God, why can't I think of him? He's in Wall Street. He's Gordon Gekko. God, what's his name? Well, anyway, so the Gordon Gekko guy, he's in a movie called Falling Down. And basically it's just a guy who has a really bad day, and so he goes on like this, like, spree, I guess, like a crime spree, like just beating people up and stuff, trying to like solve all of his problems with violence. And that's kind of a fun movie to watch, even though you couldn't make it again in this day and age. But it's like if that movie combined with John Wick, and then just like wasn't very good. That's my plot synopsis. I think who should watch this movie? I think if you really like Bruce Willis films that like after, like if you really like Bruce Willis, like even after he stopped making good movies and he just makes action movies that like, or you just want something on in the background that has a lot of gunfights, that I guess this movie works for you. But I wanted to like it, but it's just not that good of a movie. I would give it the rating to just go ahead and skip it. You're not really missing out much. Go watch Falling Down, go watch John Wick. Both of those are better movies. And you'll have seen this basically, and then you can preserve your idea of Bob Odenkirk, who's, a great actor, a great comedy guy, and a great drama actor. I mean, maybe that's why he decided to do this. Maybe, he's doing Better Call Saul, and like that's a drama, and he's really, really good in that. But this really isn't a drama. This is like a true, like, stupid brainless action film, and I just don't think that's really Bob Odenkirk. What I think, I can't. It's a shitty Bruce Willis film that has Bob Odenkirk instead. I can't. That's kind of, I can't think of a better way to describe it than that. Have you seen it? Let me know what you think down in the comments. I could talk about movies all day, so I want to hear what you think. Do you like these movie reviews? I know this is kind of an interesting change for the channel that's mostly about white noise, but the big catalyst for doing some talking ASMR videos is I used to do just white noise videos, and they got demonetized on YouTube, which, if you don't know, basically that means they still show ads, but I don't have any control over them, which part of the big hassle with that is they show ads in the middle of the videos. But if you have control over that, you could turn off the videos, the ads that play in the middle of the videos. So here's another thing. If you watch a white noise video and there's ads in the middle of the video, the creator can turn those off, and they don't because they make more money that way. But also, if making the white noise videos takes it doesn't take a lot of time. It takes a couple hours for each one, and then the rendering, which is the computer doing all the work. The computer is basically locked up. You can't use your computer for, 10 or 15 hours, and then uploading. Obviously, these are big files. Dude, these are like the 10-hour ones. So to not get anything for all that work, it, kind of demotivated me. So, for whatever reason, I guess, I kind of came to the conclusion that YouTube thought I was just reusing the content, which was not entirely untrue. There was a lot of stuff that was just like stock footage, but a lot of it was stuff I went and shot. So I ended up deleting like a whole bunch of videos. Probably, I had like at one point probably deleted like 200 videos, which was really hard to like think of like how many like days of work that represented. And so, but then as I started doing some talking ASMR, I think YouTube was like, oh, okay, it's a real person making these videos. So now I'm making these little ramble videos here and there, interstitially. And I think that kind of helps offset issues. And then I get just nerd out about fucking movies. So I hope you're well. And if you like hearing me ramble, I have an actual ASMR channel called Tingle Triggers. I think there's a link in the description. You can go check that out. And I make much more frequent videos, so yeah. If you're new here, please subscribe, and look forward to a lot more movie reviews this year because I'm gonna try to watch 365 movies again, which I did. I've tried a couple times, but I've only successfully done once. So I'm hoping this year is the year for round 2. I'm already up to 11. Feeling pretty good about it. So hope you're doing well. I hope this video finds you well, and if not, well, I hope that turns around for you real soon. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.